Welcome back to Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. And so we have some new news, guys. Sometimes things take a change and they're unexpected. But anyway, Bryant has decided to resign from the show, and we brought in a replacement, and we're going to let you tell us if we should keep him or kick him to the curb. So anyway, we've got Colton with us. How you doing tonight, Colton?
Doing all right. About yourself?
Doing good, man. Just, hanging out here smoking cigars with good friends and, bourbon. And the Cowboys won in overtime, it's been a great day.
Sounds like a good time to me.
So just so everybody knows, Colton is actually one of the tobacconists at the Leaf. And so I've known Colton for a long time, but how long have you been at the Leaf now?
I've been employed there just a little over a year.
Has it been a year? Wow.
As of September.
Yeah, because I remember you used to come in, we'd hang out and smoke cigars.
Absolutely. That was the easiest job interview I ever had.
Nice.
I told Jay, I said, hey, I'm here enough. You might as well just pay me. He looks at me and says, can you start Thursday?
You're like, I'll be there, boss.
Yes, sir.
I'll be there early, ready to smoke cigars and sell cigars.
100%.
So cool, man. So tell everybody what you're smoking.
I am smoking the Definition Cigars Conception.
Now, is that the maroon band?
Yes, sir. That is the maroon band.
Okay. I think that's one of the really good ones out of their selection, and I also like the green band, which is the Cameroon.
That Cameroon wrapper, the Noir is the Cameroon, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm smoking the My Father's La Gran Oferte. You can kind of see that right there. And, I have been a fan of this cigar ever since it came out, or at least ever since it was at the Leaf, because I didn't know about this cigar. And then all of a sudden I loved My Father's, but these showed up and I was like, blue band, what's that? Anyway, I smoked it and I was like, holy crap, it's really good. And I mean, it comes in 4 or 5 different vitolas.
At least 4, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you have the Torpedo. I like the one that is like a 6x46.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what's funny about that is I love the the Mcalliff Medallion.
Yeah.
And I think they're very similar in strength and flavor profile. Now, they have a different mixture and you get some different notes, but as far as in that same zone, when you know you're going to drink a certain bourbon and that's what you're looking for, you can interchange these 2 sticks.
Absolutely. And that's the same deal with that as with the Medallion. That's kind of my personal kind of universal recommendation when someone's trying to pair with a whiskey. It's either that one or the Medallion. You can switch back and forth and it works. I've never had anyone come back and tell me it wasn't good.
Well, and because of the experience that you're getting at the Leaf, I mean, dude, it's really, I've done it. I don't know. Were you around whenever I was working at the Leaf?
I had no idea till just now that you worked at the
Leaf. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I only did it for about 3 months because I took basically your position. Well, I was working Friday nights.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was covering that shift on my regular job's weekend. And after 3 months, my days off changed, and I was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. But, dude, what a great experience.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite jobs I've ever had. It's not even really like a job, like you said, just get paid to show up and smoke cigars, you know what I mean, and just talk to people about cigars. It's fantastic.
And, I mean, the thing about it is, and I'm going to just say, because, in case you guys don't know already, the Leaf is one of our sponsors, but I'm going to say this, just last night, I was up at the Leaf with Alan and Ike. Dude, he was busy too. Wow, yeah. He was busy. But just listening to him work with the customers and help them, I was like, that level of customer service you just don't get when you go to most stores.
Right, and that's one thing Jay is real big about. I know Jay's been on the show, but he talks to us a lot about the customer experience. His vision for the stores, he wants it to be the best possible customer experience that someone can have. And, if we got to make concessions on certain things, I mean, he's willing to talk about anything. And just as long as the customer leaves happy, that's what he wants.
And you know what? I know everybody thinks that's the way it is supposed to be, but just the fact that he cares enough that he really believes in his vision. He talks to his employees and tells them what he shares. Yep. He's giving you the vision to chase after the same as him. And I can tell you right now, I know where there's shops where guys are working selling cigars at the counter. And their bosses never told them anything about the vision of their business, which tells you Jay, I mean, he's going to be successful because he cares about people. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely. And just the fact that he cares enough, like you said, to tell his employees about it, it speaks to his character. And he's a phenomenal guy. Definitely one of the best people I've ever worked for just in general. He's a great guy.
Yeah, and I've actually heard him talking to an employee, and he was like, and he was talking about that. He was like, you know what the goal of our business is? And the employee was like, to make money. And he was like, I mean, yeah, we do want to make money, but no, it's customer experience.
Right.
And I was like, that's Jay right there.
100%.
And I mean, it should be that way everywhere.
It should be.
And, you know, I would say for a lot of places it is like that. But there's also some places that are just selling sticks. You know what I mean?
Right. They're just there to show up and collect a paycheck, and that's it.
Right. Now make sure you're talking to the mic.
Yeah.
I'm going to spat you on the hand.
If
you're replacing Bryant, by God. So anyway, and we're drinking tonight a little Buffalo Trace. I forgot where I found this. I think I got it at Philo's. Have you been to Philo's?
I love Philo's. That's one of my go-tos. The last bottle of that I found was at Abby's over on Buffalo Gap Road, just up from Philo's.
It's possible I got it there because I go to Abby's, Philo's, and I go by Big Johnson just because, like, they don't hardly carry any good stuff. But they do carry the Old Tub. Have you had Old Tub?
Never had it.
So it's a Jim Beam product.
Okay.
But it's supposedly the recipe before Jim Beam came into being.
Right.
And it's a bottle and bond, so it's 4 years old.
Okay.
And it's 100 proof. And it has a nice cinnamony, spicy, but a little bit like smooths out with a little caramel. So I mean, it's a really nice drink, and for $24.99.
Oh shoot! Yeah.
So I mean, if I'm going somewhere and I want to take a bottle, I swing by there and pick one up. And so, but other than that, I don't go to Big Johnson's because I'm just not a big fan.
I mean, I can't tell you the last time I was in there. Pinky's and Lone Star Liquor over on South 14th and my go-to just because
I have never been to Lone Star Liquor. Where the hell is that?
You know where the United is on South 14th?
Yes.
It's like that little strip center.
Oh, no. I forgot that I go there because it's right by my, well, you live just right down the road.
Yeah, I live right down the street. Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't seen me naked.
You know what? I am surprised, a little disappointed.
Oh, easy. That's why the bush is growing up over the bathroom window.
Oh, okay.
We don't need any peeping Toms around here. So anyway, we're going to talk about our sponsors right quick, and we've kind of went over what the leaf is, but I just want to let you guys know down in the show notes and up on the screen right now is a picture of his humidor. If you haven't seen the humidor, holy crap. Dude, I mean, when you go walk in there as a cigar smoker, it's like the gates of heaven open and you see Noah's Ark shoving out on an adventure.
That's one of my favorite things, I tell you, is to see someone who hasn't been there yet, and I direct them to the humidor and just see them walk in there, and the reaction is the same every time. Their eyes just light up and they go, wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, very few humidors I have ever been to are bigger or better than what the Leaf has. And one comes to mind that was probably the grandest that I've ever been to was up in Omaha, Nebraska, and it was at, what was it, Safari Cigar Club. And you don't even think this is going to be a nice cigar bar because it's in a shopping center and it doesn't look like, you know, it's not new.
Right.
And you walk in these doors and the front area is probably like a 40 by 60.
Okay.
So that's big floor space.
Yeah.
And it's got tables in that whole space. And then they got a little counter, and then you walk into a double door that goes into the humidor, and it's probably about the same length.
Right.
But about twice as wide.
Whoa.
And it has a whole aisle down the middle.
Golly.
And it's all done in teak wood.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you come out, you buy your cigars and you go through another double door, and the double doors are open.
Right.
But you walk in and there's like a 30-foot bar, and they've got probably 30 tables in there for you to sit and enjoy adult beverage.
Oh.
But it was a really nice place. We actually had them on the show. I was traveling up there just by, because I had to. And so when I drove back from where I was working, I drove all night to get there and slept in their parking lot until they opened. And then I went in and I did a show there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I got an interview, man. This shop's badass.
That is incredible. Have you ever checked out either of the Habano House locations down in Austin?
No.
They have two locations. One's kind of down on Congress, and the other one's kind of on the north side. In fact, the one on the north side is about a 5-minute drive from Roma Craft's headquarters.
Okay.
Right over there.
You know where the Roma Craft headquarters is?
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I mean, I've been by it, but they were closed when I went by.
So, we went and did a show there.
Oh, cool.
And, dude, it was like a 4-hour show. We actually did it in 2 episodes.
Oh, man.
It's called Roma 1, Roma 2.
That is awesome.
It was awesome. I mean, it was like, and it was so funny because when we sat down with Mike Rosales, it was kind of like, oh, we'll just do whatever. I was like, you want to focus on anything, tell people about anything? And he was like, hey, man, you just ask questions. I'll do my thing. And I was like, okay, cool. Dude, 4 hours later, I was like, all right, man, we got to get on the road.
That was a mistake letting you take the wheel on that. You're going to be there forever.
Yeah, but it was so much fun. But what I was going to say is, where Roma Craft is.
Yes, sir.
I have no idea. I don't have any remembrance of where it is. But it's a really cool place. You can go by there.
Yeah. In fact, it was funny. 'Cause the only reason I know it was there was because the last time I was in Austin, I went to Habano House and I FaceTimed Jay. And I was
So was it badass?
Oh man, let me tell you. Well, the north location is smaller than their more downtown location, but still.
And you were at the northern one?
I was at the north location in Austin, and I FaceTimed Jay, and I said,
push that back just a little bit. You're kind of fuzzy. There you go.
I texted, I FaceTimed Jay, and I said, hey, guess where I am? And he goes, well, show me, so I literally just turned a corner, and he goes, oh, you're at Habano House. And I was like,
oh, he's been there?
Yeah, and I was like, how the heck did you know that? He goes, I just saw that shelf, I knew. And so I was showing him what they had, and I was like asking him if he wanted me to pick him up anything because I was down there. And he goes, you're 5 minutes away from Roma Craft. And I was like, and that's one of my favorite brands. And
Same here.
Oh,
I smoke a lot of Roma. It used to be my very favorite brand.
Same.
I mean, and you know what? A testament to the Leaf because they brought Roma Craft in. Mm-hmm. And the amount of cigars they've brought in since then, I mean, they've just been on a tear to bring in different lines that people want to smoke.
Absolutely.
So this whole long story is about the Leaf. They're our sponsor. Look down the show notes, call them up, and they'll ship you your packages out ASAP. So anyway, and our other sponsor, and Mcalliff.
Oh, yeah.
You're a big fan.
Yes, sir.
Are you an ambassador?
I am an ambassador.
All right.
Yes,
Very
sir.
nice.
Yes, sir. I left my coin at home though. I didn't think to bring it.
Mine's right there. You
Hey-o.
can see.
Let's see here. This guy right there.
It's one of those.
Saw it.
Yeah, there. It's on top. You got it.
Oh, right there. Oh,
Yeah.
you got the old school one.
I do have the old school one.
Heck yeah, man. Number 2. Yeah, you're a little bit ahead of me on that
A
one.
little bit. I started pretty early.
I think you were the one that got me into it, actually.
Well, I'm glad you did. It's a great community.
Yes, sir.
And they got a large range of cigars. And, I mean, they have a blend that anyone would enjoy.
Absolutely.
I mean, you might not enjoy every single blend, but I promise you. And what I love about it is, and Mcalliff I smoked through the entire line. And it's such a journey. You know what I mean? Talk about just a journey with one line of cigars. It was amazing because I started with the Connecticut, went with the Torsador, and just worked my way up the entire line. And it was like, wow, that was a great experience.
They cover both ends of the spectrum, and they got something for everybody.
They really do. And so if you haven't become an ambassador, you can look down the show notes, click on the link, and you can become an ambassador. They'll send you a coin. And, man, try their cigars. And if they're not at your stores, ask your manager, hey, man, bring them in because they take care of the brick and mortars.
They're very big on that.
Dude, like lots of companies say we support the brick and mortars. They walk the walk.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've seen them just reach out, just in their outreach program is just fantastic. And like Al's been to our store at least twice.
I came and smoked with him one of those times.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
sick the other one, but
Right.
dude, yeah. I mean, hanging out with Al and smoking is an experience you will not forget because the best thing you can do is just shut up and listen. Just gold pouring out of that man.
That guy's got some stories.
Oh, and he's so real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You don't think of owners of companies being relatable.
Mm-hmm.
He's a brother of the leaf, man.
Absolutely. I mean, if you saw that guy walking down the street, you would never be able to just pick him out as like an owner of a cigar company.
Right. No, I mean, yeah.
And he just, and I haven't gotten the chance to meet him in person yet, but I have been on some Zoom calls, that he's been on and stuff. Just like you said, just shut up and listen, because that guy will tell you some stories, and he can tell them for days.
I would love to be locked in a room with that guy for like 4 days.
That might be a one-sided argument.
I didn't say he wanted to be locked in a room with me. Anyway, well, let's move on to our pick 6 of the week. And just so you know, we have a special guest coming up after the pick 6 that you're not going to want to miss. We have the all-time Mcalliff winning machine as our guest tonight. He brought a show and tell item. You're not going to want to miss that. I the first time I saw it, I was like, WTF. You know what I mean? I was like, what the hell is that?
I didn't think it was real. I was like, what the heck do you have there?
Right. So he's going to bring that on. We're going to talk about it. He's not going to smoke it because I don't think I'm going to have him here all night. But it's definitely... It's one of those cigars. I don't collect cigars. I don't save cigars. I smoke cigars. I think that's one that I would actually like not want to smoke. You know what I mean? It's like I would want to save that cigar.
Right, and I'm the same way. If it's in my humidor, I'm probably going to smoke it.
Oh, absolutely.
But like I would have a hard time looking at that thing and thinking I'm going to set this thing on fire and stick it in my mouth.
Right.
Like,
and the thing about it is, the way I think about it is like the cigars that I want, I smoke.
Because you want them.
Because I want to smoke them.
Right.
And so when I go down to the leaf, any cigar in there that I want, I can smoke. Mm-hmm. And so when I come home and open my humidor, I have the same mentality. Right. Anything that's in there is fair game.
100%.
So I'm not changing. But anyway, we're going to do our pick 6. We're going to let you go first, Colton. So if you got them ready, I'm going to let you fire them up.
Sure. Yeah, I got my 3 ready here. Okay, so I got the first one as the Cro Magnon, actually, by Roma Craft.
Now, do you like the Cro Magnum, the black label, or do you like the Aquitaine?
Okay, so here's the thing. I am more of a fan of the Cro Magnum.
Okay.
The Aquitaine is a good stick, don't get me wrong, but that Cro Magnum just has that extra kick.
Oh, it really does.
And I love that.
I mean, I don't know the makeup of that cigar, but I'm guessing it's probably either got more Ligero or just it has Ligero and the Aquitaine doesn't. I don't know.
Well, I tell you, if I remember this correctly, now someone correct me if I'm wrong, but someone at once upon a time told me that the Cro Magnon and the Aquitaine use the same type of wrapper leaf. That's why when they produce them, they produce them at different times of year. So that's why sometimes it's harder to find.
So is the Aquitaine, you say it's the same wrapper?
That's what I've been told. I got to do some more. Don't quote me on that, but I got.
Because the Cro Magnum regular, it just seems to me like the wrapper is dark.
It does. So that kind of gives me pause there. But someone, and I don't know if it was Jay or somebody else, told me that it's the same wrapper, maybe the same. There's an ingredient in there that's the same, and so I want to say it was the wrapper, but like you said, it seems to be a bit darker.
It may just be the band. I don't know. I mean, what the hell do I know?
Well, they freaking JB Weld those bands on those Roma Craft.
Now, do you know the secret to those bands?
I think you told me this, but go ahead and refresh me though.
So you burn it all the way up to the wrapper,
right,
or the band,
right.
Excuse me, and then when it gets there. You just slide it off that way, just like that.
Past the ash?
Yes.
Really?
Right off the ash.
I have never done that.
That's you know who told me that?
Who's that?
Michael Rizales.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess he would know, huh?
He told us that on the show because I brought that up. I was like, man, we love your cigars, but we hate your bands. And he was like, I understand. I've heard about it, but here's why we do what we do, and here's how you remove them. And he just right off.
Well, there you go. I remember it was you that told me about the little cave painting type thing on the second level.
If you take the first layer off, underneath is hieroglyphics.
Yeah, it's
graphics.
got
the hieroglyphics.
Glyphic.
Thank you, Big Larry. We got, hey, you know when Rob Jones needs help pronouncing something and we're going with Larry? We're scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, usually I rely on Bryant. He likes to, and you know what I appreciate, and that's one of the reasons we got that he resigned.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, I'm sorry. I'm going on with your list.
Oh,
man.
no, yeah. So, first pick this time is going to be for me, the Crow Magnum. Then coming down from that is the Perdomo Esb Sun Grown. And let me tell you a little bit about that one. We first got those into the leaf. Jay tells me, okay, this one's like 2 steps above.
Which one?
The Esb Sun Grown from Perdomo.
Oh, great line of cigars.
Let me tell you.
Was this the Maduro or the Sun Grown?
The Sun Grown.
Okay.
Sun Grown. So
they're both amazing.
Oh, my gosh. When Jay told me these are like 2 steps above their standard line, you got your Perdomo Habano, Lot 23, the Champagne, that kind of stuff. And I love all of that.
See, I'm not a fan of the Lot 23. I know a lot of people say it's a great value stick.
And it is.
But if I don't enjoy the stick, it's not a value.
Well,
for me.
And that's one of the great things about the cigar world is there's something for everyone, but not everyone's going to love everything. And
right. I wish I loved it because it's a great value price wise.
Right. But my dad, he will only smoke Perdomo Habano Connecticut's. That's all he smokes. That's his stick. And I love the Perdomo Habano Sun Growns, and that's what my usual go-to when I'm smoking a Perdomo. I'll grab one of the Habano Sun Growns. But when Jay told me about this stick, and he just goes, it's like 2 steps above that. And I was like, okay, really? You're talking a super premium cigar. Like, how much better could it really be? Because it's a cigar. I mean, there's a spectrum there, but it's like, how much better could it really be?
And the Perdomos that you were used to are really good cigars.
Good sticks. But when I lit up that Esb Sun Grown for the first time, I mean, I had one of those, like my eyebrows shot up and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and have you had the Maduro?
I have had the Maduro too.
It's delicious as well.
Same deal with the Maduros. It's just you get so much more of a complex flavor out of it, and it's got something to it. I can't pin it down, but man, it is good.
Pretty sure they're putting cocaine in there.
Well, I mean, maybe.
You know what I mean? They're like, "Come on, you'll like it."
Yeah. That's how they encourage customer loyalty.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, all right, what else you got?
So, third and final is the Tabanero Connecticut. There you go. And in fact, you were there when I had my first one on Saturday. I had it with coffee for the first time, and let me tell you what, that is a smooth smoking son of a gun.
It's smooth, dude. It is so smooth.
Good, and it doesn't really have, because you know how you get a little bit of that bitterness on Connecticut's usually?
None.
Zero. And
I call that bitterness that a lot of Connecticut's have. It's like a zest, like a lemon zest or an orange zest, but not in a sweet way, just a real dry zest.
Kind of hits you on the tongue.
And I don't like those type of Connecticut's. That's not for me.
Not my thing either.
And I'm sure that there are some palates that love that profile, but dude, the Tabanero Connecticut is so freaking smooth.
That is a dang good stick, let me tell you what. And I like I said, my first one was on Saturday, and I will definitely be having some more of those. That's going to be one of my new coffee cigars.
Dude, in the morning,
yeah,
I love that cigar. I mean, yeah. All right. Hey, well, good 3, man.
Thank you, sir.
Good 3. So let me think about what I've had. First of all, I'm going to go right out of the gate with, I smoked one last night, a Tatawahi Fausto.
Oh.
Have you had one of those?
Not the Fausto, no.
Okay, well, I will gift you one.
Oh, well, you are so sweet.
Dude, they are so phenomenal. Have you had one over there? Oh, I'll gift you one as well, sir. It's really becoming one of my, I would say top 20.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about the top 20 best.
Right.
I'm talking about the top 20 that I find myself rotating through at the moment.
Right, just one of your go-tos.
Right.
Right.
And, I usually keep somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 to 20 different cigars in mind when I'm smoking, because I like to revisit them several times,
right,
so I can really dive in. And that cigar is definitely worth smoking over and over and over.
Well, I'll have to note that. That's going to be on my list now.
Nice. Well, next week you can give us a review when you come back.
Of course.
So, anyway, and then number 2 on this week's list is the Mcalliff Medallion.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, let me tell you, I came out here, I think it was Thursday night, and I was going to watch some TV and smoke a cigar here in the shed, and I picked out a Medallion, which I like the Corona Extra, the 6x46.
Right.
But I didn't turn on the TV, but I was still sitting down, and I turned on some music, and I lit up that Medallion, dude. And I don't normally smoke my cigars until I can't hold them. You know what I mean? And I smoked that sucker. I didn't want it to end.
Got your money's worth.
Yeah, and when you get down to that final third, you start getting a little depressed that the ride is coming to an end eventually, and you can't stop it. And that cigar lit it up for me. And everybody knows that's one of my go-tos.
Right.
But I can't say that I do that cigar justice and take my time and smoke it.
Mm-hmm.
That night, listening to some blues, I just sat back with some bourbon, and I just enjoyed that cigar.
You're speaking my language right there, man. That sounds good.
That's I wish I did that even more than I do. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Taking
sir.
the time to really enjoy a cigar.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my number 3 this week it was actually a gift from Paul. You know Paul Jenkins.
Yeah.
He was in the shop, and he had a celebration. And anyway, he brought me a Padron 1926.
Oh, man.
Maduro.
Okay.
And, I mean, that cigar, you know what? If I smoked 50 of them in a row, I would not be like, oh, I want something different. No, if you have another one, I'll take it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If I'm not paying for them, I really love that scenario.
Right. And in fact, Scott at the Leaf, he puts it the best that I've heard anyone put it so far. He said that cigar tastes like a cigar is supposed to taste. When you think cigar, you think of that cigar in your mind.
And you know what my favorite thing about that cigar is above all?
What's that?
Is if you were to go out in today's market and smoke 100 different cigars from different companies,
right,
you would have a lot of similarities bleed over from cigar to cigar company.
Right.
But with Padron, nobody has the Padron flavor profile.
Right. It's
a unique thing that you're not going to experience except when you smoke a Padron.
Right. It's got there's something about them, and I agree. There's something like you just.
I don't even know what it is.
Right. Yeah.
It's just that when you're smoking it, you're like, that's it.
Yep,
there it is.
That's a Padron, and you know it, and that's and they're all like that. That's the thing is they're so consistent across their line.
Now I can't say that's the case on the Connecticut.
Okay,
Connecticut doesn't give me that Padron flavor,
right?
And for the price, I'm not that impressed.
Well, I mean, I would agree, but we don't.
Damn straight you would. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I guess we got to follow the rules around here. Sorry, but no. Well, yeah.
But have you smoked some of those?
The Connecticut's?
Yeah,
I've had 2, and there's a reason I've only had 2.
I mean, it's a $15 stick,
right?
I would rather have the Mcalliff Connecticut all day long. I'd rather have the Tabanero all day long.
Yes.
I'd rather have a La Galera all day long.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Connecticut's that, to me, are way better.
Yes.
And the price point is a third to 2/3 of the price.
Right. And that's the thing, too, is Connecticut's kind of its own game. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a huge Connecticut guy.
You know who loved that cigar?
Who's that?
Dr. Bill. Dr. Bill loved that cigar,
yes.
But you know that he smoked 90% Padrones.
Oh, yeah. Like
I've very rarely seen him smoking cigars, and it wasn't a Padron.
I can't tell you how many it was, but on his birthday that they celebrated at the Leaf, I sold more Padron 1926s that day from his friends coming in and buying them for him than I have any other day of the week.
I bought one for him.
Exactly, yeah.
I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You mean Dr. Bill.
Yes.
I mean, God rest his soul.
Yes, sir.
That's another what I consider to be a true brother of the Leaf.
100%.
I'm not a touchy-feely type guy, but he was somebody who, dude, every time he came in the shop,
Yeah.
didn't he just make you feel better?
Oh, I would smile every time I'd see him walking. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's Dr. Bill.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you didn't have a conversation with him, it was just his presence.
He had that way about him.
Yeah, he was a special guy, and he is missed.
100%.
So anyway, that's my top 3, guys. That's the pick 6 of the week. Appreciate your 3, and we've got a special guest, and you know what? I hate to tell too much, but he's a pretty young cigar smoker as far as his journey.
Mm-hmm.
But he is way beyond his years.
Yes.
I mean, I'm like blown away where he is in his journey. And when I see what he smokes, I'm like, dude knows his shit.
He
You
does.
know what I mean?
He does, absolutely.
I mean, trust me, we know guys that have been smoking cigars for years that don't know their shit, Scott Fritz. I mean, I'm just saying. Anyway, we've got a special guest coming up next, and I was going to say Mr. Wilcox, but I know that's not right. What's your last name? Wilcoxson. Wow, I can't even believe I was close. Wilcoxson.
Yes, sir.
We got Mr. Wilcoxson coming up next, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick break. Thanks for hanging through the break, guys. We got our special guest with us all the way from Abilene, Texas, the one and only, most winningest Mcalliff ambassador on the planet. We got Brian Wilcoxson.
How's it going?
Did I get the name right?
You got it right.
Boom!
Nailed it.
2 times.
2 times in a row.
Because we already recorded this once, and Larry screwed up the recording, so we're doing it again. The funny thing is, if you heard the first go around, it's going to be completely different.
Yep.
So anyone who's living and breathing, you missed it. Anyway, guys, Brian is a fellow tobacconist, smoker at the Leaf. I didn't know you until I don't know, 6 weeks ago.
Something like that.
I'd seen you around, but I didn't know you were like a brother of the Leaf, like registered,
Right.
You're only allowed to be within 1,000 feet of a cigar shop type guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, it's been great hanging out with you, smoking at the shop. I found out you're a Mcalliff ambassador, and then I found out that you have won tons of stuff.
Absolutely. They've given me quite a bit of awards and
So how
money.
long have you been an ambassador for Mcalliff?
I believe I got my coin in February or March.
Wow.
Relatively late.
Right. Well, that's cool, man. So, do you know your number?
Yes.
What is your number?
I'm number 8675.
8675. That is crazy to me. And I did see someone post a challenge coin with their number on it, and I want to say it was like mid 10,000s.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I was
seen
like,
some up
wow.
around, 10,600
That's
plus.
crazy. So, talk about what some of the benefits you've experienced as a cigar smoker becoming an ambassador.
Well, with the ambassador program, I've been fortunate. They have so many different contests. Just keeps you engaged. Keeps you engaged with the Facebook group, and also it incentivizes you to smoke their cigars.
Oh, absolutely.
And what's great about winning these contests is the winnings, they go to the local cigar lounge of your choice. That's a Mcalliff authorized dealer. And you don't have to buy Mcalliff cigars with them. You can buy whatever you want.
Yeah, they just give you a gift card basically, and you go get whatever you want.
Yeah, so it's allowed me to explore through the humidor cigars I might not have wanted to spend that kind of money for.
Sure.
Or even some cheaper cigars. I bought a factory smoke one time with part of my Mcalliff or one of my awards.
Hey, man, well, thanks for
certificates.
coming by the show. We appreciate you having you on. No, I'm just kidding.
I normally wouldn't have bought that, but I was
No.
$3.
Hey,
I'm going to try it. It's not my money.
And it was like we were talking there, and that's a great time to try a cigar like that. But we were talking about budget cigars before the show, and one of the things is, if you find a cigar that you enjoy smoking for $3-4, that's a bargain cigar that you should smoke.
Absolutely.
If it's not something that you enjoy, it's not a bargain cigar. So,
yeah.
So into the ambassador program, though, I mean, like, what all have you done engaging as an ambassador with Mcalliff?
So I do a lot of the bold moment contests. I take photographs of the Grande bold lines, the Montefina, Sumatra, Ligero, Maduro, and there's one other one, Sumatra.
Oh, I love the Sumatra.
Yeah, everybody likes the Sumatra, but
dude, who doesn't love the Sumatra? That is just, you don't?
No.
What?
It's my least favorite Mcalliff.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
It just does not speak to me.
Really?
Not
Have
at
you
all.
tried it with the Sumatra coffee?
I don't know if I've had it with the Sumatra coffee, but I've smoked 5 or 6 of them now, going through different passports.
I've probably smoked 100 or so.
No.
They're good.
I've only had 2 that almost spoke to me.
Really?
Didn't quite get there.
So which of the Mcalliff line is like your go-to?
My go-to is definitely the Montefina.
Really? That's your go-to?
That is my go-to. If I need a cigar that I know is not going to let me down.
And you know what my opinion on the Montefina is? It's my very least favorite of the entire Mcalliff. I'm just messing with you because you're breaking my balls on my selection. But no, I'm messing with you.
No, it's all good. Yeah, the Montefina is definitely my go-to Mcalliff.
Now, I know this last weekend you went to your parents' house. You had some, down, relaxing time. You just turned 40.
Yep.
And so you showed me what you took to smoke, and you had a very impressive lineup.
Yes.
But one of them was the Mcalliff Reserva.
Right.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's been a while since I've had one of those, but when I have smoked them, they are like a Padron in that it speaks to me the way a Padron would. You know what I mean? And it took me a little while on my journey to get there because the first few times I smoked it, I just didn't get it. But by the 3rd time, I really started getting it. And by the 5th time, I freaking loved it.
That's a stick to me that same way. First couple of times I smoked it, I didn't really get it. And I think you have to get past the price point.
Well, and I'll tell you that's true because whenever I smoke a cigar that costs over $30, when I light that cigar up, my expectations are crazy.
Absolutely.
And so you can't appreciate what it is if you're focused on what it should be. Because what you don't know shit about blending cigars.
No. And of
so
course,
let them do for you.
my first Reserva was pretty early on in my journey. I think I smoked it right after I became an ambassador. As soon as I became an ambassador, I went through the passport program and blasted through all 16 cigars
Nice.
in like 2 weeks. So that was very early in an already young smoking career, and I just did not appreciate it.
I completely understand that because the first time I smoked it, I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, it was a good cigar, but and then as I smoked it a few times, I really was able to be like, wow, that's actually pretty damn good.
Pick up
you know
on
what I
the
mean?
subtleties.
Yeah, and you've actually like hooked up to a 1,300 horsepower Chevelle in your journey,
Right.
and you're blasting through because since it hasn't even been a year since last Thanksgiving, and when I see the cigars that you smoke, that's not the cigars I expect anyone that has been smoking for as long as you have to even be smoking.
Right.
I don't even think they're going to know about those cigars. You know what I mean? And that's no knock on the guys that are making their journey. Everyone's different. And I was way slower than what you have been. So, I smoked a lot of cigars and I made a rough journey.
Right.
I smoked a lot of shitty cigars because I started at the freaking bottom and started working my way up. And so now, the downside of that is is when you get past certain levels, you never go back.
Right, right. That's what's been tough about this weekend is I smoked several great cigars. The Linda Special Edition, fantastic. Got a Romacraft Wonderlust, amazing cigar.
And see, that's one that I never fully appreciated because I've only had two.
Right.
The first one I didn't get at all, and the second one I was like, yeah, that's a better than average cigar. You know what I mean? So, and I would love to smoke like another 3 of those.
Yes.
To really get it because it's a unique cigar that, I mean, you got to pay attention to.
Right.
In a very perfect setting. And what I mean by that is like, where are you? What's your environment? You know, what are you drinking? You really boil it down to the experience. And I would love to do that with some more of those.
Right.
So if you have any,
that's the problem is they're hard to get.
They are very hard to find.
Very hard to find. I've been blessed. And
Now, have you smoked the Black Irish?
Yes, I did.
That's one of my very favorite Romacraft. I mean, I'm a fan of the Romacraft line, but that cigar is money. It lights out.
I smoked. Jay actually blessed me with a Black Irish one day, and I smoked.
He blessed me with one too, because other than that, I don't know how to find them.
Exactly. I have another friend that's been a very good. He's helped me on my cigar journey quite a bit. A coworker and friend of mine. He gave me one of the Sabertooth line, the Craft 2021s.
And see, I remember smoking one Sabertooth. Didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you just smoke one, you're not going to get it.
You really need a couple more, but that
I mean,
one
maybe
good.
there's some badass cigar aficionados that just need one. I need it over and over and over.
Oh, it's a cigar I want over and over.
Right. I mean, and I want to appreciate it.
Yes.
I don't have access to it.
Smoked that. That was a great stick. I enjoyed it. The first one. It's the only one I've had since, but I really liked it.
And you showed me your list. You had a Padron 26 in there.
Padron 1926, number 1, natural.
Maduro. Oh, natural.
Natural.
Okay.
I actually smoke a lot of.
Is that your preference?
No. Well, my preferences change. Just like everybody.
Right. I mean, if I go back and listen to what I was saying a year ago, I might completely be off of the rails compared to what that was, happening at the time.
I was a real heavy Maduro smoker. I like to smoke strong cigars that were heavy.
That's how I started.
And I actually worked through kind of the cheaper line of Padrones, the 4,000s and 5,000s, 6,000s, and I was smoking all Maduros.
Now, I will say this about Padrones. Like, I know they're 1,000 series.
Yes.
They're all good cigars.
They're good.
But I don't even consider that to be a Padron.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If I'm going to spend the same amount of money that what they're charging for those, there's way better sticks available at the same price point.
Right.
And so, every once in a blue moon, I'm like, you know what? Who knows why? I just feel like smoking a 7,000.
Yes.
But it's not that unique flavor of the Padron line that everybody knows and loves of the 64 and the 26.
Yes.
So anyway,
but I've got into the natural kick here lately, and the Padron Natural's spoken to me a little more than the Maduro. I really am enjoying the Padron Naturals right now.
I go back and forth with everything.
Yeah.
But I find that I'm really right now in a groove with Habano wrappers. It's because I was on Maduro for a long time, and I was on it so long that now that's not what I want to smoke very often. Every once in a while it is, but most of the time that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that more medium plus instead of just kick you in the balls. And so I love finding these Habanos that have a lot of flavors, spiciness, and their medium plus strength. So, if I smoke 2 or 3 of them in a row, I'm I'm fantastic.
Yeah. I've actually been even further lighter, and I've been on a Connecticut kick for the past 3 weeks.
Dude, I'm loving Connecticut. Well, let's bring up a new favorite Connecticut.
Absolutely.
Because I know I've been smoking the shit out of them, and I've seen you smoking the shit out of them.
Tabanero, Connecticut.
Tabanero Connecticut's, man. Dude, if you like Connecticut's, or if you're exploring Connecticut's, the Tabanero is probably my, like, you should smoke this.
Absolutely. It's one that I've recommended to several people, including Colton.
Yeah, well, now, what's the other Tabanero that we have?
The Habana.
Okay, the Habano. They're already sold out of
Yes.
the Toros.
Yep, I bought the last one.
Oh, I was like, you know what? They're out of those, so I'll get a Toro Connecticut. And then I was like, but I better get the Robusto of the Habano.
Right.
Because the Habano is lights out good, too.
It's great.
I mean, out of the cigars that I've smoked from Tabanero, those are my two favorites so far.
I did smoke the Limitada, the Maduro, and it's good too. It's that whole lineup.
Now, which one is that? Is that the one with the white band with the purple letters or something?
It's not the one that's in the Padron case.
No.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's I think the one you're talking about is the Nero.
You're right.
And so I like that one, but those other two, they blow my skirt up.
I haven't shelled
and I'm
out
not
the big
wearing
money yet.
any panties. Just saying.
I have not decided to shell out the big coin yet, and
I haven't either.
I just saw those today.
Well, they've been there for a little bit, and I am very hesitant to spend $50 on a stick. I was talking to one of our Light 'em Up crew members, Zeka, and we were talking about $49 for a stick. I want to try it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, to me, when someone puts a price tag on a cigar like that, you know, whether you're talking about Padron, Mcalliff, Tabanero, anybody, it's like, I want to know if the price is justified.
Right.
And sometimes it is. Have you ever smoked a Padron 50th?
Not the 50th.
Okay, it's $50, $55, somewhere in there. I've only had one, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, holy crap, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you have to say, but I wouldn't pay $300 for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a cap there of how good it is.
That's one of those sticks that's similar to the Mcalliff Reserva.
Right,
me. I don't know that I'm quite far enough along in my journey yet to truly appreciate spending that kind of money for that cigar.
Right. I completely understand, because as a working guy, you know, I mean, if money was no object, I'd have my humidor stuffed with them.
Right. Right.
But we all know that's not true. But yeah, Connecticut's, I think, is it's funny because you think Connecticut should be like your starting point, but so many of us guys don't want to start there because we like hot salsa. We like steak. We like, you know, flavorful meals. So we want to start out with the full bomb.
Yep.
And that is an awesome experience. It's part of a great adventure in the cigar journey that you're making. But at the same time, it taints your mental image of what a cigar should be. So it takes you even longer to circle back around to a different type of cigar. And that was me for Connecticut's. Like, I started smoking the La Galera Connecticut after I had been smoking all bombs for like a year. And that Connecticut like woke me up. And I was like, there's something really good about this cigar, and it's not kicking me in the balls.
No, that's been my go-to.
Right. And La Galera makes a fantastic... Have you smoked a Maduro?
I have not smoked the Maduro from them. I have smoked their Habano.
The Habano is fantastic. The Maduro is a subtle Maduro.
Yeah.
So I would say if it's a great cigar to add to your journey.
Okay.
Because it's not the full blown kick you in the balls Maduro. It's one of those that like helps you graduate to that next stage.
Complex.
Yes, exactly. And maybe it's the other way around.
Right.
So, so where are you at right now as far as like some of the cigars that you're smoking?
Some of my dailies right now are, of course, La Galera, Connecticut. I pretty much have had one every day for the past 2 weeks.
Now, where do you look at the Mcalliff, Connecticut?
I think the Mcalliff is somewhere out of the 6 or so Connecticut's that I smoke, which is.
Well, now you're gonna have to tell me all 6.
Yeah, I smoked the Damaso by Padron.
The one I said is
yes.
overrated.
Yes,
I'm not a fan.
Smoked a couple of those. I think that the La Galera is higher up.
Oh,
that's probably number 1 as far as
if I had to pick out my favorite 5 Connecticut's at the Leaf, the La Galera is number 1.
Number 1 is La Galera. Number 2 is Tabanero.
I'm with you.
Number 3 would be Mcalliff.
I'm with you there.
Number 4 would be the Porcelain by Black Label Trading Company.
I'm with you there.
Number
Damn
5
good.
would be the Padron Damaso.
No. See, you went AWOL. You know what? You're trying to make yourself look fancy. This is not a fancy show. Not just messing with you, bro.
I haven't really smoked a whole lot of other Connecticut's. I listened to the podcast that you had with Scott and went through some of those options that he listed.
Did you enjoy his list so far?
Yes, so far everything that I've tried on there has been great.
Cool. I wrote down his entire list, and then I lost the list. So I'm still smoking. So
I actually just went in there when Scott was working one day and said, "Hey, I'm listening to the podcast that you did with Rob right now."
Very nice.
And he's like, "Have you heard it all?" And I said, "Well, no, they're just now getting to the part where you were when I walked in the door." He's like, "Oh, well, come in here. I'll show you."
This
which
hand
ones."
gesture means, "Can I have your lighter?"
Oh, my lighter.
I'm not waving my cigar at you.
Okay.
But anyway, I love the porcelain. Scott actually gifted me one of those the night he came over for the show.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, you know what? All those Connecticut's that you mentioned, what I love about all of those is they're all completely different smokes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like
They bring something different to the table.
totally. And so I love that, like, I can go in any Saturday morning with my coffee and get a completely different experience, whether I go with the La Galera, the Mcalliff, the Tabanero, the Black Label Trading Company, you said Porcelain.
Yes.
And so, I mean, it's just a completely different experience. And I think the difference between each one is greater on being Connecticut than you would see in similar lines of cigars. Like, the differences aren't just so dramatic.
Right.
You know what I mean? You get a lot of cigars where you could compare it to another cigar. With the Connecticut's, it's not like that.
No, they stand on their own.
When I'm lighting a cigar, that's your
when I
cue to
should
keep
talk.
talking.
That's
Yeah.
when I should talk instead of puff my mind.
I'm like, son of a bitch is smoking. How dare you?
How about some quiet time?
We don't do a lot of quiet time around here.
No. Yeah, they just it's an interesting journey, and I've really been enjoying going through it.
And it's like, you know, you have the cigars, but then you like have a whole nother part of it, which is the community.
Right.
And I mean, when you get into the community, that's what makes it.
Absolutely. That's been one of the best things. I just recently got the membership to the Havana Room probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
When I see guys looking, I tell them it's worth their weight in gold.
Every penny.
Every penny. A place where you can go, hang out in private, and know the guys that are coming back there. It's freaking amazing.
I've had some fantastic conversations. Just the fellowship that goes on back there.
Yeah, and I mean, we're all from different backgrounds. We really don't have anything in, well, we all live in Abilene, but we don't have a lot of interesting things in common. And so when the cigar brings us together, it's very interesting to me to hear about other people's lives, because it's from a completely different aspect of what I know.
Right.
And I love getting those perspectives.
Yeah, it's been really fascinating just meeting the different people there. And like you said, I mean, everybody's from a different background, and we're all brought together by a common interest of cigars.
Right. And the cigar thing brings a level of respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you go to a bar, you may get respect, but you may get disrespected.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just freaking random, because the guys that give you respect, that's just their background. You know what I mean? That's how they were raised. But in the cigar community, it doesn't matter how you were raised. Everybody has that same level of respect.
Absolutely.
And if you don't,
I mean, it's blue collar or white collar to people who aren't even working because of circumstances out of their control.
right.
I mean, I've met some incredible people there. It's been just a true blessing to be able to be a part of that community and enjoy all those aspects of the cigar community.
Absolutely. And I've been going to the Leaf for years, and I keep meeting new people. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, I keep meeting these new great people that I'm enjoying having conversations with. And it's like, I when you think you know everyone, you know, it's just the same, boom, got new people,
Yeah.
bam. So that's just part of the community. It's just expanding.
Yeah, I met a guy today before I came over here that was from Miami who just happened to be back there. I think his name was, I don't know his name. I can't remember. I'm not even going to lie.
His name was Sherman.
Sure, that's what we'll go
There
with.
you go.
But, he was an interesting guy. We ended up sitting and talking for about 10 minutes. He saw me pull out the giant cigar, and
Wow, that's cool.
he said, "What is that?" And it was Mcalliff, and of course that led us down a whole rant of going
Right,
through the
there's a
Mcalliff
rabbit
Ambassador
hole.
program and everything that's gone on with that.
Well, and the cool thing is, though, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? We're just communicating. We're just enjoying a good smoke and knowing that you're in a good space.
Right.
And that's what I love about going to the cigar lounge.
Yeah. It's been an absolute blast. It's kind of become a home away from home. I'm there nearly every night.
And day.
And and day.
Because I don't go up there much at night. I go up there mostly during the day, and that's when I see you there.
Yeah. Here lately, my work schedule's kind of changed around a little bit. I'm not having to work as much during the day, and what work I am doing during the day, I can actually do at the Leaf.
Nice.
Which is great. There's no better office than the Leaf.
Right. You're like, I don't need an office. I have one.
Exactly. Just set my laptop up, use the free Wi-Fi, make a couple phone calls, put in my headphones so I don't hear everybody jabbering. It's all great. And smoke a cigar.
Perfect. So let me ask you this. When we got here, we all lit up cigars.
Yeah.
But you didn't pour a drink.
No.
And I want to apologize publicly because he's told me he doesn't drink before, and then I offer him a drink. So I'm an asshole. I apologize.
Doesn't bother me one bit.
All right, man.
Not one. I've been sober now for 16 years. I got in some trouble a long time ago and decided to quit. But of those 16 years...
Hey, that's great, dude.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
You're 40. So 16 years ago, you were
I
24?
was 24.
Dude, everybody at 24 does dumb shit.
Well, I was one of those people.
Yeah. Well, I did a bunch of dumb shit. I still do dumb shit.
I just happened to get caught.
I got you. But
So
hey,
that's-
you were like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need that.
That's the thing that made the difference for me. But of those 16 years of sobriety, I was a bartender for 7 of them.
Wow.
So being around alcohol
Doesn't
not
bother
me
you.
one
Okay. Well, good. Well, then I don't care that I offered you a
No,
drink.
not one bit. I just say no and drink whatever I have.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And I know because I hang out with you sometimes in the early morning. You love coffee.
I I do like coffee now.
You don't love coffee.
I do love coffee now.
Oh, okay.
So what's interesting is I had actually quit caffeine for 7 years as well.
Why?
I was doing a job where I was driving a lot, and I was drinking 3 or 4 Monsters a day, plus coffee, plus every Cokes and everything else, and I just decided one day to cut it all.
And then you started using meth?
No, no, I didn't quite go that route. I went the natural route.
You went the legal route.
Yes. I just went cold turkey
There
and,
you go.
and quit. But smoking cigars, I needed to find something that would elevate cigars. And coffee, of course, is like the number one thing for a non-alcoholic choice. So I decided to try it one day, and I was like,
And then you added some Irish cream.
No, didn't do
Oh,
that.
sorry.
I'm not Orlando. I can't have that creamy coffee. It's got to be real black coffee, not that white.
I've
black
never
stuff.
had coffee with Irish cream. I'm a black coffee drinker. And, I didn't start drinking coffee until like 4 years ago at the Leaf. I hated coffee.
Similar thing.
But I had only had like 7-Eleven coffee, and I was like, that's disgusting.
Oh, yeah. It's probably been there since 7-Eleven.
Yeah. So no way I could. And it's when you go to the Leaf, it spoils you because I've been to Starbucks and I was like, that's disgusting.
Absolutely.
So I only drink coffee either at home or at the Leaf.
The Leaf has great coffee. Goes great with cigars. The other place is another local place that I like is Monk's. They have great coffee too.
I drank a coffee at the Leaf from them, and I think it was called Smoking Barrels or something. And it was actually very, very good.
Yeah.
Most of the coffee that they've had was a little too light for me. As a newer, or are you new or are you restarting?
I am kind of restarting. I smoked when I was 18. I smoked probably up until I was about 28-ish, 29.
Or did you smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay.
I smoked cigarettes when I was like 11.
Wow. Wow, you had shitty parents.
Oh,
no, I'm just fucking with you. Messing with you, bro.
I stole a lot of their cigarettes. Sorry, Mom.
My parents smoked. I mean, I remember when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I was just enamored with watching the smoke come off the cigarette while my dad was smoking.
Yep.
And my dad called me over there and he was like, "Here, you want to smoke one?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Just puff on this really deep." And I puffed on it and I got sick as shit. And later on in life, he was like, "I did that so you would never smoke."
It didn't work.
I was like, "Well, I'm glad you didn't hold my head under the water faucet."
Yeah. But I had smoked up until I was probably 28, and then I quit everything. I actually had started vaping, and then I got into cigars.
And that's when you started going to the gay club.
Well,
I'm just messing with
not that often.
Only when I couldn't afford my own drinks.
Right. When I needed some extra vape juice.
Right.
Just got to do a little stripping.
I you know what? I think maybe I tried someone's vape once or twice, and that was before I smoked cigars.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I vaped up until about 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I have quit vaping.
Just shows you the Lord can heal everyone.
Oh, I'll just smoke more cigars.
There
instead.
you go, brother. Also, those are calorie free.
Well, I like to say these are my vegetables.
Right.
This is my salad I smoke it every day.
Hell yeah.
That's how I get my leafy greens.
Now, how often do you eat salad?
When I go to Texas Roadhouse.
Fair
once
enough.
a month.
You know what? I have a salad about once every 3 months, and it's like I'm feeling guilty for all the red meat that I eat every day.
Yep.
And I'm like, I should eat a salad. And then I go eat a salad, and then I'm good for 3 months.
Exactly.
So anyone wanting to know that Texas diet, I just gave it to you.
Red meat.
Red meat.
An occasional potato or a leafy green.
Absolutely. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming by and hanging out with us and telling us about your experience with cigars and Mcalliff and the Leaf. I mean, I don't think that guys that aren't trying what you've experienced are getting the full experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? You've really, like, I can see you growing as a cigar smoker. I mean, like, I'm blown away because you're not pigeonholed into one cigar, one type of cigar. And that's when you start really expanding and you're just like, holy shit, there's a lot of good cigars.
Yeah, when I first started, it was really mainly Mcalliff's, and then I kind of drifted into Romacraft, and it just turned kind of coincidental that my third cigar was a DC and everything was Texas-based.
Right?
And then from there, it's just progressed into all kinds of different things, thanks to the direction of people at the Leaf, my good buddy and coworker, Skylar, who sends me different things to smoke now and then, or lets me know of something new that's coming in.
Very nice.
And listening to the show, I mean, I've been able to pick up different cigars from recommendations that you guys list off from your pick six.
Well,
try different things.
We put a lot of work and effort into that pick six. We do a lot of smoking to try, to have a different list every week.
Product testing.
Product testing. It's brutal. It really is.
I really, truly feel for you guys.
And we appreciate you that, you're appreciative of our hard efforts.
It's a sacrifice.
Thank you. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it. And we will be right back with our new host, Colton from the Leaf. Hey guys, thanks for hanging through the break, and we are back with Colton, and he's our newest prospect, so we're gonna see if he can cut the mustard. Anyway, man, that was a great interview with Brian. Love to have that guy back on the show. I think there's so much more for us to explore there.
Absolutely, yeah. I love just listening to the different perspectives and everything he had to say about Mcalliff. He's obviously a very invested Mcalliff ambassador, and we love to hear about that.
Absolutely. Turn that mic towards your mouth just a little more. There you go.
Hey, yeah.
So, and what's interesting for me is when I look at my own cigar journey, I look at his, and when I think about his, I feel like Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon, because we're just like jumping in the light speed. You know what I mean?
Oh.
My journey was so different than his.
Absolutely.
That like I appreciate a completely different journey.
Right. Yeah. And just listening to what he had to say, I've been involved in cigars very consistently since I was 18, and he took that break, and he's a different age than me, and just the fact that he started and then got to where he's at right now so quickly like that. It took me a long time. It hasn't
even been a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And he's going back through the adventure or journey that a lot of people miss on the way by, and then they eventually go back. But I mean, in 11 months, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, and just like it reminds me back to when I had my first cigars, and I wish I could forget that, but you know what? You never forget your first, right?
Do you remember your first?
I do.
What was it?
Okay, so don't judge me here, but
that bourbon is too damn hot, by the way.
It's pretty hot, but let me tell you. So my first cigar was this nasty ass like strawberry flavored bullshit from somewhere here in Abilene. I can't remember. This was like 12 years ago. 13 years ago, and it was just like this nasty strawberry flavored.
Now, was that a cigar?
Technically,
so it was more like a cigarillo.
It was probably about a Corona size, if I remember correctly. But me and my friends,
who made it?
I do not remember who made it, but I just remember the experience of buying it. Me and three of my friends we'd all just turned 18, and so we had come up to Abilene to go buy some cigars, and that was all we could find at the time because we didn't know about the Leaf. And so then we took them and went back out to my parents' place and, lit up a fire in the fire pit, and we smoked them, and we were all like, oh, yeah, this is great. Like, we're real cool, you know what I mean? But I think back to it, and I'm just like, my God, that was nasty. It was so gross.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, but I do understand it's a natural camaraderie tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
And
know
like,
what I mean? Even if it's the worst freaking cigar on the planet,
mhm.
if you're smoking them with somebody else and having a good time,
Yeah.
it's a freaking common bond.
Well, and that's what like y'all were saying earlier in y'all's interview. Just it's the community that really makes it. I mean, you can enjoy a cigar by yourself all day, and it can be anything you want. It can be any price point, anything you want. But the fact that you have that common thread with the people in your shop or the people in your community that you know smoke cigars. Like I was out walking in my neighborhood the other day, and I saw a guy sitting out on his front porch smoking, and I was like,
cigar?
yeah, he was smoking a cigar.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, what are you smoking, man? And he looked surprised. He was
Oh,
like,
yeah, because when you do that, they are like, oh, somebody noticed I'm smoking a cigar.
absolutely. And he goes, oh, I'm smoking. I can't even remember what he said he was smoking, but he goes, what about you? And because I was out walking smoking, and I was like, oh, I got this. I think I was smoking a Cro-Magnon at the time. I was like, oh, I got this Cro-Magnon from Wilcoxson. He's like, oh, well, tell me about it. So we exchanged
Nice.
about the cigars, and he goes, oh, I have to try that. And then I told him I would try whatever he was smoking. I can't remember what it was to save my life at this point. But yeah, it's that camaraderie that brings people together. And like, I've been in cigar shops in different parts of the country, and I'll just sit down with people and just talk with them, and you will not believe the type of people that you meet in that situation.
I agree 100% because that reminds me of a time I was in another town staying at a Hilton Garden Inn.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hilton Garden is always real nice for cigar smokers because all the ones I've been to have a smoking patio.
Okay.
And so I went down and I sat on the patio and I was smoking a cigar, and there was nobody else in there in the area.
Right.
And a guy walks in and goes, I don't know what you're smoking, man, but that smells amazing.
I've heard that, yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, this is a so-and-so. And we engaged.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man, I really love cigars. And I was like, hey, man, I got another one if you want one. And he was like, well, I don't want to impose. And I was like, no, man, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Dude, after we got halfway into the cigar, and I mean, the dude's telling me about all these journeys. He works in China as a computer guy. And I mean, how random to meet this guy at a hotel and share a stick.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, we don't have anything in common at all.
Absolutely.
Other than we both love the cigar and the cigar community.
And that just builds on that. And like for example, when I went to North Carolina to train for my day job about 2 years ago. And first thing I did, I found a cigar lounge within 10 minutes of my hotel that I was staying in, which it was a Berners Cigar Company in Huntersville, North Carolina. And Room 101 was actually doing an event there.
Oh, cool.
That weekend. Matt Booth, the owner.
No, Matt Booth was there.
Matt Booth was there.
Nice.
I got to meet him and his rep.
We've been trying to get him on the show, and he has just been like giving us the middle finger.
That dude is a trip.
I've heard. Well, I've heard shit you probably haven't heard.
I believe it. But he was super nice though. I told him where I was from. He came up and talked to me. But I just sat down with this group of guys. I was like, "Is anyone sitting here?" And they were like, "Oh no, go ahead." So I sat with those guys for like 3 days total. And the last day was when Matt Booth was there, and we all did that. And
was Matt Booth like hanging out as a regular cigar smoker?
He was doing his own little presentation, and then when he was done, they were done, and then he packed up his shit and left.
Oh, okay.
But I got to go up and talk to him, and I told him, I said, "Hey, I know the guys at the Leaf in Abilene, blah blah." And we talked about that a little bit, and then I talked to his rep. His rep was super nice, and Matt was very very nice, but that guy, he's a trip, man. He's an interesting cat. But so these guys I sat with ended up being one of them was a former head mechanic for a NASCAR team.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he was retired at like freaking 40 or something like that. You know what I mean? But he did his own thing. And then another guy was like a head guy for one of the Bridgestone.
Isn't it so freaking cool that you can hear stories from these sectors of life that you would just never even know about?
Never, like the first 2 days I sat there, I never knew that about these guys until the last day. And then we ended up going on me and those two guys I met ended up going on some adventures. I almost ended up in a bar fight. It happened around me, but I just kind of left. But
so I gotta ask you, I mean, here's the thing. Like, the Cigar Talk is all over the world.
Right.
You know, it's not like we're just super popular in Abilene.
Right.
Probably 99% of the people in Abilene don't know we exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we are all over because the cigar community is all over.
Right.
But I wonder how many of the listeners have ever heard a Texas auctioneer. You know what I mean? Because that's a very unique thing.
It is a unique thing. It's its own community in its own right, for sure.
So what I have recently learned is that you were practicing to become an auctioneer. That didn't come to fruition, but you have practiced extensively, and you've never done it before a live audience.
That's fairly true, yes. In one of my last job opportunities, I was in a position that I wanted to get out of, and to do that, I thought my path out was to be an auctioneer. And so I
got to ask you though, have you been to a lot of auctions?
I've been to some cattle auctions. My dad does some ranching on the side, and
when I was a kid, my dad took me with him.
Yeah.
Going to the auction was like badass. It was like, this is a freaking event.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
sir.
You got the small town guys, and then you have the big corporate guys that come in, but they don't actually come in. They just have a truck driver that can load up 100 cattle.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of a cool competition between the local guys and the big guys.
Right, that's very true. And interestingly enough, when I was researching that position, I did not know, but you actually have to go, from what I remember, you have to go through like the Texas court system to be certified, and you have your own jurisdiction over an area that you cover.
Really?
Depending on what you're auctioning, yes. And it's a state regulated thing.
So let me just ask you this. If, let's just say I was an auctioneer, and I'm pretty sure that everybody that knows my vocabulary as being Lubbockian knows that I will never, ever be an auctioneer. But if I was, if I was a badass auctioneer in Houston and somebody in Amarillo wanted me to come be an auctioneer for them, I couldn't do that because I'm in my own territory.
Now, see, I didn't get that far into it, but to my
what I'm
understanding,
saying
yes.
is you're telling us bullshit.
Oh well, you caught me.
Boom! That's what I'm talking about. No. So I've always been a fan of people that can do that. But here's my question to someone who has done that.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck are y'all saying?
So there is a rhyme and a reason for that.
I know there's a rhyme because
Yes.
they all rhyme, but I don't know the reason.
So when you have an auctioneering situation, your goal is to get sales. That's your goal. And
you want to provide the opportunity for buyers to buy, and for the seller, you want to hopefully drive up the price.
And that is exactly right. You want to create that sense of urgency to like, oh, I got to bid now, otherwise I'm going to lose this. You know what I mean? So that's why they talk so fast. That's why they talk in such a rhythm, because it kind of lulls you into this sense like, okay, you're listening, and then.
But it's also exciting. Because it's me against everybody in here.
Absolutely. And so when they're talking so fast, they are actually saying words. It's not just like garble. It's actually words.
If I were to try to be an auctioneer for say a huge lot of McLaren F1s,
okay,
I would be up there and I'd be like, blow me, 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 blow me. And that's why I am not an auctioneer.
So the way to start out into that is you want to practice your numbers. Okay, you want to practice counting, because it's all about the numbers. You want those to be absolutely crystal clear, because if you are mumbling or you're incoherent on your numbers, that causes a lot of problems. So you just start practicing your counting, like you counted ones, counting fives, tens, your different increments. You want to be able to do that, and you want to be able to do that on the spot. And then once you get your numbers,
just so you know, I fold under pressure if I'm on the spot. You know what I mean? It's like I got to remember what comes after 6.
You know what? I'm a musician, and I can only count to 4.
So give us a little A little
Oh.
like let's just say we're selling one of these.
Okay, so say we're going to start the bidding off for
This
that.
is a Cigar Talk poker chip that we send out to our Patreon members. Let's sell one of these.
Okay, so we'll just start the bidding at $1 just for the sake of argument. Okay, so you're gonna start at 1, move up, and you have your cadence. So that's the words, the fillers that you put in between that. So you're gonna start off. You're gonna be like, and can I get a 1 now? I'm gonna bid. You get one. You get 1 4. Can I get a 1 now? I'm gonna bid. You get a bid. You get. Can I get a 2 now? I'm gonna bid. You give 2. You go 2. You give 2 4. I got a 2 now. I'm gonna bid. You give 2. You give 2 4. Can I get 3 now?
Damn.
Yeah. So you got.
Nice.
So you got to practice your count, and then once you get your counts down, then you start adding filler in, and that's where that kind of drone comes through, and that builds that sense of urgency where you're like, I got to bid now, I got to bid now.
I've always been impressed by the guys that do that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm by no means. Like I said, I used to just practice it. I was never in any.
Well,
capacity.
technically, you've never been paid to do it, so
No.
that would make you an amateur.
Sure. Yes.
So the guys that have done it for decades,
Oh my gosh.
holy shit!
Those guys can do it without even thinking.
Yeah, I mean, and it is in such a rhythm
Mhm.
that you are just hypnotized by it.
Right, and that's the thing. Like when I was practicing, this was about 3 years ago. I had my cadence fairly down. Of course, it's been like 3 years since I've even tried it. But
So have you ever thought about doing it again? I mean, is that something that you like? You know what? That would actually be a lot of fun.
I've thought about it, but
Because let me give you a little advice.
tell me.
I think if you want to set yourself apart with the rest of the auctioneers,
Mm-hmm.
you do it in an Irish accent. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be badass.
You know what? I got to work on my Irish accent. I've been to Ireland, and I can kind of do
You've been
that.
to Ireland.
I have, yes.
Are you Irish?
My family, my ancestors, some of them are, yes.
I just was basing that on how much I've seen you drink, and
Fair
I
enough.
was like, he must be Irish.
Fair enough.
I'm 81% Irish.
A lot of my ancestors on my mother and my dad's side both came from Ireland.
I'm 38% Neanderthal.
Oh, how much percent did you say you were Irish?
81.
How about you make it 82?
Okay. I don't really know what that means, but okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
No, but the joke is, hey, you got a little Irish and you had you like a little more. That's the joke.
right,
That's
sorry.
the joke. But no, so on my dad's side of the family, that name.
Now, what's your dad's name?
It's Phil Rocket.
Phil Rocket.
That's the one, yes sir, the one and only.
Is that your last name?
Yes sir, Rocket.
I did not know your last name.
Really?
I've always just called you Colton.
Yeah.
I never even thought that
Yep.
you had a last name.
It's Rocket with 2 T's. It's
very cool.
Actually, if anyone wants to go halvesies on the Rocket Castle Estate, it's for sale right now. If anyone wants to,
What is for sale?
the Rocket Castle Estate in Waterford, Ireland.
Oh, nice. Well, my question is, do you own the web address rocketwith2ts.com?
I do not to my knowledge.
You need to buy that.
Okay.
I don't know what for, but you know what? If I was a tarot card reader, which I'm not, I would be like, oh, there's a lot of cool shit coming up in your future.
Well, I appreciate that, but yeah. So my family, a lot of the Rockets came from southeastern Ireland. And
Oh, nice.
Waterford and Tremor. Me and my brother kind of took a trip over there about 3 or 4 years ago, and
That is cool, man.
And let me tell you something about the Irish. They love Texans,
Really?
and because of course we wear like our boots and hats. That's
the only people that really don't like Texans is California.
That's true. But they keep coming here for some reason.
I went to California back in 1987.
I'm sorry, but
And what I realized was while I was there, I was only 18.
right.
But I ended up going to a bar anyway.
Mm-hmm. Where?
And all the people from California, when they found out I was from Texas,
Yeah.
just quit speaking to me. But you know who I found as a group that was like cool as shit?
Who's that?
I found this huge group of Australians.
Oh,
And then I just hung out with those guys.
Oh, heck yeah, man! The Aussies. Well, I tell you. So the Irish, and I'm assuming Aussies as well, because they're fairly close to the Irish as far as like their mentality of a lot of things. The Irish, they love like the Western cowboy culture. They're like obsessed. So me and my brother, of course, we wore like our hats. That's just what we wear. And
What
like
kind
our
of hats?
cowboy hats, like our straw hats and stuff,
gotcha.
and like our boots. That's just what we wear on a normal basis when we're not, or when we're working or otherwise. And we went over there and it was like a freaking movie. We walked into several pubs and like you got the guys playing billiards and stuff and everyone just stops and looks. It'd be like if a guy walked into a bar wearing a kilt, around here.
Yeah, you hear the record player go,
yeah, and everyone just stops and looks, and we walk in and we're like, howdy, and everyone just like looking at us like we're from a different country, which we were. Because we were. And so we go up and we're talking to these people and we go to leave, and this one guy grabs my brother like by the shoulder, and I was like, oh, are we about to have a fucking throwdown or something? And then so I'm kind of squaring up, and this guy was asking us, he goes like, have you ever had a King's cheddar and onion crisp, which is what they call like potato chips over there, with a Guinness? And we're like, no, but we're going to go get some food. We're hungry. We hadn't eaten for like 12 hours at that point because we didn't know what places served food over there. He goes, no, you're going to stick the fork down and have a pint with us.
Nice.
And so we did, and we got they're so friendly. They're just so nice. And like just that whole
they're like a immediate bonding type people.
Oh my gosh, we left there with this couple, like we walked out the door with them and they like were hugging us in the parking lot. We're like, oh, it's so great to meet you. Y'all are great. Like, I mean, we were like the family friends or something. We just met them like 3 hours ago. We just drank some beer with them. I mean, and like, I don't know, the people over there were just fantastic. And
now I gotta ask you though, did any of them or yourself smoke cigars over there?
Okay.
Because I don't know what the cigar culture looks like in Ireland.
So as far as the smoking culture overseas, in Ireland at least, it's mostly cigarettes.
Right. I knew there's a big cigarette market there.
Yeah.
But are there people smoking cigars? I know there's people smoking pipes.
Right. So you see that, yes, and you see the cigarettes, mostly the cigarettes, but the cigars over there were so stinking expensive because they obviously have to import it overseas. They got to go across the Atlantic to get from Central America, South America to Ireland. The cigars were so stinking expensive. Me and my brother found one shop in Kilkenny, Ireland that sold cigars, and we paid out the ass for those cigars.
No shit.
Oh my gosh, we paid so much money for, and they weren't even that good. They were just like kind of what I call like the staple brands, like anything from General Cigars and stuff like that. I mean, okay, I don't mean to say that they're not good, but like it's not like you're going to be smoking your top 5 or whatever. But it's like, okay, yeah, I recognize these brands. These are good brands, but you're gonna pay like.
It's not like the selection we have here.
No, absolutely, but then
and I don't think any other country has the selection that we have.
Well, no, because we're right here, But
we're fucking spoiled Americans,
and that's yes, but
we get what we want,
and we enjoy every bit of it. But,
right.
But the thing too is like you're having to transport it across an ocean to get over there. And I if I remember correctly, of course, this was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. If I remember correctly, I think we bought a couple of Monte Cristos, and we paid probably $18, the equivalent of $18 a stick for like a Monte Cristo Classic Series or something crazy.
18
at least.
Well, I mean, really, that's not that bad.
Well, no, but
I mean, you're talking about a $11 to $12 stick that
right.
You're paying 18 for.
18 to 20 at least, but
okay. Well, I mean, it's not like 50.
No, it wasn't anything like that, but it was definitely more than we were expecting.
I mean, I would understand that it's more than what we're used to.
Right.
But being in another country like that, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they jacked it up by 50%.
Right. We'll see. Like I said,
100%.
This was years ago, and like I wasn't working for the Leaf at the time, so I wasn't really in tune with the whole cigar industry at that point. But me and my brother so we bought these, and of course, my brother's a little shorter than me, but I'm 6 foot. I'm 6'3" in my boots.
Are you really?
I am 6'3" in my boots, and I weigh like 230 pounds. And my brother's a little smaller than me.
You weigh 230 pounds?
Roughly, yeah.
I weighed 230 pounds once.
How long ago was that?
That's none of your business.
But so you got these big burly guys with beards wearing cowboy hats and boots walking down the street smoking cigars in Ireland. People are going to take notice. Like we stopped traffic And like my brother almost swung on this person that took his hat off his head from behind. It was this drunk Irish girl. She stumbled out of a pub and took his hat off his head, and he turned around with his arm cocked back, and I grabbed him. I was like, "Whoa, easy, bro. It's not we're not home right now." And he goes, I was like, "They don't know." And he goes, "I don't freaking care." Blah blah. And I was like, "No." He turned around, saw who it was. He was like, "Oh shoot, I'm so sorry."
And you're like, we're in somebody else's country.
Exactly. Like it's like we're visitors here, man. And so
absolutely.
But like I said though, they were so friendly. They were so just happy just to talk to us. You know what I mean? And it was
I'm not really one that like dreams of traveling all over the world.
Right.
But Ireland is one place I would like to go.
Definitely go, because the people there are so nice.
Isn't it pretty close to Scotland?
It's just across a little body of water.
See, I mean, as long as you're there, you might as well hop over and check out Scotland as well.
It's literally like a day or two trip to get over there, see some stuff, and then come back. Like, I mean, obviously you need more than that to see everything. But
I mean, you do realize that I don't remember her name, but there was a woman who had birthed to twin boys.
Right.
And one was the Irish and one was the Scottish. And that's how all that happened.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
I mean, that's my guess.
That's a good guess. But, yeah, if you get a chance to go over there, I tell you, like, you tell them you're from Texas, and they will show you a good time. They're just phenomenal people.
And what about traveling over there with cigars? Can you just, like, show up with, like, 200 cigars? Because I don't like to take a chance on running out of cigars. You know what I mean? I hope that I can buy cigars, and if I can, I will. But I don't want to take a chance on running out just because I was not prepared.
Right. So when we went through customs getting into the country, it was literally the easiest interview of my life. We went in, the guy was like, "What are y'all here to do?" And we're like, "Oh, we're here to see the sights and drink a little bit." He's like, "All right, cool." And he just stamped our passport.
I mean, you were straight up with
him. Yeah, we were straight up honest with him, and me and my brother both. And he was like, "All right, yeah, that sounds good." And he stamped our passports, and we just went on. But yeah, it was easy to get in there.
I've never been anywhere I needed a passport.
Really?
I've been to Canada. I've been to Mexico.
Okay.
Now, I know today you need a passport, but back in my day, they didn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, I've never been to either of those places. I want to go just to say, to go.
If I was going to recommend one place over the other,
right,
go to Canada.
Really?
Yeah, dude, there's fucking people killing people down on the border of Mexico.
I mean, you make a fair point.
I mean, if you don't care about your life, then, I'm not saying miss out on tacos.
Right.
Because I do love a good taco.
Well, ask me about three glasses of bourbon in a minute.
Yeah, but back when I was going to Mexico, I mean, it was cool, man. I mean, we even got pulled over, and we had to bribe our way out of it.
Yeah.
But it was $50.
So I've heard that. Like I've heard some stories about people that I know that have worked for guys that do their production out of Mexico, and same kind of deal.
I mean, it's that's the cost of doing business,
right?
That's the cost of going over there and shopping at their markets,
right? And and it's,
hey, you had a couple of cervezas. We're going to take your vehicle, or you can give us $50. But to be fair, that was 30 years ago, so the rate may have gone up since then. So don't take my word on that $50.
You have to account for inflation somewhere.
True. So one of the reasons I wanted to ask you on the show is because you do have a lot of experience at the Leaf now after a year.
Yes, sir.
And you smoked a lot of cigars.
Yes.
And so I wanted to get like your top 5 cigars that are new to you.
Okay.
So I hope you did your homework.
Oh, yes.
All right. Rock and roll, bro.
I did some research. So I'm going to start with the Liga Privada T52.
Okay.
So before the Liga Privada line, I mean, I was not the biggest fan of Drew Estate, and it just, not that they were bad cigars, it just wasn't for me.
Right.
Like everyone has their stick, everyone has their niche that they want to do, and like the acids and the undercrowns. Like I got people that come in on a weekly basis and buy those,
and that's what they want.
And that's great. That's fine. It just wasn't my shtick, you know what I mean? I just was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, it's a good stick, but not for me. But when the Liga Privada line came out, I had my first Liga Privada from Dave over at Granbury.
Oh, nice.
And it was a number 9, and it was fantastic. I still have the tube from that cigar. It was one of the tubos. But when we got the Liga Privada line in at the Leaf, the T52 was, for me, was just
Lights out.
Next level, man. You get that leathery earthiness of it, and it has something on the back end. I still cannot pinpoint what it is, but it just something kind of just excites your palate a little bit, and it's fantastic. I love that stick. But it's, out of the Liga Privada line, the T50,
and that's a pretty bold stick.
It is. It's going to be, it's kind of got that reddish tint to it, but it's going to have a kick to it.
Yeah, and to me, that is a medium plus to full.
I would call it that. Definitely a medium plus all the way to full. Like I said, it kind of depends on your palate, but the Liga Privada line is going to be a pretty stout stick.
Yeah,
and it's a little bit higher of a price point, but it's still like if you're looking for like a good occasion stick, like I'm doing. Like someone's birthday or wedding, I want something that's really nice. I never don't mention the Liga Privada line.
I think that's a good choice.
It's one of my personal favorites, and of course the number 9s are great too, and all the Rat series that we got and the Fritas series that we got, they're all. In fact,
I need to smoke one of the Fritas series.
So if you're going to smoke a Fritas series, smoke the Papas Fritas, because that is essentially the leftover clippings from the number 9. Is what they make those with, and it is a good stick. But one of my favorite sticks to smoke, like when I'm closing, is I'll grab a nasty Fritas out of the humidor and smoke that while I'm closing.
Nice.
And that's just that's a good hour-long smoke. Gives you enough time to kind of get through it, and it produces a lot of smoke. I don't usually drive with it because it looks like a blunt, and I don't want to get pulled over for that.
Right.
But it's a really good stick. So the T52 would be probably. Definitely would be one of my top 5 new cigars to us for the 2021 year. So my number 4 would be the Placentia Reserva Original.
Oh, dude, I love that stick.
So let me tell you about that stick. The original is what I started with, and of course I've tried the 14B and the Alma de Fuego and the Alma de Fuerte, and they're all you ain't gonna find a bad stick in the Placentia series from what we carry. But the original, the Reserva Original, is one of the best constructed cigars I've ever smoked.
And you know what? The original is like as close as what you can get to a Connecticut without being a Connecticut.
Right.
It's like it's just like a golden toasted piece of bread.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? When you got that perfect level of butter with just the right heat.
Oh yeah.
It's not burned, it's not raw, it's just perfect.
Right.
That's what I consider the original.
And the flavor profile on that thing is really, really good. And like you said, it's like a Connecticut without being a Connecticut. So if you want that smoothness of a Connecticut with a little bit of complexity to it, that's a
great steak.
Excellent way to go. I tell everyone this when I recommend that Placentia line is when I'm smoking a Placentia, I physically have to break the ash off of it in order to kind of ash it, because it won't come off because it's so well rolled. It'll stay there.
Right.
And it's such.
And you're not doing that whole smoking, holding it straight up bullshit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, if you are concentrating on long ashes and not the experience of the cigar, you're missing the boat. That's all I got to say about that.
That defeats the purpose.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. So this is one stick that it'll get you there without having to try so hard.
Right.
And it's, like I say, I tell everyone this when I try to sell them one of these, it's like you have to physically break that ash off to get it to go anywhere, because it is such a well-rolled and well-constructed cigar.
I'll tell you this right now, the Placencia Original in every Vitola size, to me, is a value steak.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at $8.60 to $10, you're getting a Placencia that is second to none in quality of construction. You get a nice, complex flavor profile out of it. You get a medium nicotine boost out of it.
Right.
It's just a solid cigar, and at that price, I promise you, it's a value cigar.
100%. If anyone ever because usually when I'm walking people through the humidor, I ask them kind of what their price range is they're looking to spend, and if they say anywhere over like $7, between $7 and $12, I'll take them to Placentia, because like if you're gonna do the original, that is a dang good stick.
And for new people, I think that is a very good stick as well.
It's a good starting spot. It's a good starting spot. And like I said, it's such a well constructed cigar. It's fantastic. I love that stick.
I agree. All right, man. So what's number 3 on your list?
So number 3, which
And
is
I have high expectations.
okay. Well, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised, I think. Well, maybe not surprised, but it'll be pleasant. So number 3 was what I was smoking earlier. Is the Definition Cigars Conception.
They're very nice, very nice.
So the Definition Cigar, the Conception from them, is easily in my top 3 cigars all the time, no matter what. And the cool thing about that, and like I said before, my dad will only smoke the Connecticut wrappers from Perdomo, the Habano line. He'll smoke those, and when I smoked the Conception from Definition, that I called him immediately, and I said, I found a Maduro that you will like. It is the smoothest smoking Maduro I've ever had. It's going to have all that complexity with no bite. It doesn't bite at all. And I was talking to Jay about this, and he told me the reason for that is because the wrapper for that cigar is grown in the Umatepe region of the Jalapa Valley in Nicaragua. So what that means is that it's in the volcanic valley, but the Umatepe region is the closest region to the volcano.
And that's why you want to listen to Jay.
Oh, 100. That's why he's the boss.
Because I wouldn't know that information ever.
Yeah, exactly. And that he's the man with the plan. And I tell you, so he told me about that, and I kind of did a little reading into it. And so you get all of these super fertile, complex flavors, but it doesn't bite. It doesn't kick you back. It doesn't knock your teeth out. But you're able to still get that complexity of a Maduro without having to like feel like you got to go brush your teeth afterwards. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, I don't know. Like when we were out of those for a couple weeks just because of shipping problems, but we got them in now. And I was jonesing for one of those for about 2 weeks. And when we got them in, I was like, oh yes, I went and got me a few of those. But the Definition Conception is forever and always going to be one of my top 3 cigars, just because you get that complexity and it doesn't feel like you should be. So
just to interrupt you for a moment.
Yes.
You see what I'm smoking right here?
What you got?
It looks fucking ugly, doesn't it? It's not a pretty looking cigar.
I mean,
it's blowing up.
Yeah, it's expanded on the end there.
Yeah, and I mean, as a cigar smoker, that's not what I want. And so this is a archetype.
Right.
I don't know which one, because it's the purple tree, purple band with the yellow tree.
Gotcha.
Regardless, I've smoked some that were pretty good.
Right.
This one is very disappointing. Like I'm probably like 4 or 5 puffs away from saying, you know what, I'm just gonna get another cigar. That's how bad of a cigar this has been so far.
Well, I am sorry to hear that. You didn't get that from us.
No, I didn't. And
I say we don't carry that.
No. And so
that's the reason right there.
And because we're going to be transparent on this show, if we have problems, we're going to say.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And and then you got to take a little grace on the manufacturer,
right?
Because it's a handmade product.
Absolutely.
But if I smoke 2 or 3 more of these and the next 1 or 2 has problems, I have an issue with that line of cigars at least. Absolutely.
And I have the same deal because I'm part of a Cigar of the Month club with some online vendors and stuff. And I have been since I was in college. There has been one cigar that has come through that thing, and it's every single month that I get it, and it's always had problems. I'm not gonna say what it was.
Because you're a pussy.
No, because I'm professional, sir.
Oh, sorry. I thought maybe you were professional pussy.
Only on the weekends, man. And the weekend's coming to a close, so I gotta cut that out.
You gotta draw the line.
Got to draw the line somewhere, but it's been the same cigar every time in that assortment, and it's always had problems. It's always come apart. The wrapper's always fallen off. Like,
You know who I've had that problem with?
who's that?
And I used to love this cigar.
Right.
It was my go-to brand.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it so much that my wedding band looks exactly like one of their cigar bands. And it's LFD.
Well,
LFD has left me high and dry.
they've left everybody high and dry.
You know, I was talking to Gary yesterday, and I was like, "Are you smoking a Digger?" And he's like, "Dude, we haven't had those in a year."
Yeah.
And I'm very disappointed in that, because at one time they really were making great cigars.
And I agree 1,000%, but what you just said pretty much sums it up from what I've been led to believe. That's all.
And I hope they come back. I hope they come back, because they've got the right blends. They've got so much going for them in what they have done that I think, or I hope, that they focus on what they were doing and get back to that.
Right, and and you have to look at, like, that's the reason they're the way that they're as big as they are, is because that's where they started.
Right. They got to a level where they were that good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then they couldn't keep up with production.
Yeah, and
you know, one of the big things is they got named, I believe, in 2015 as Cigar of the Year with the Andalusian Bull. And from 2015, I just have witnessed a consistent drop-off in quality.
And you're not the first person to tell me that. I'm not going to lie. One of my personal favorites from the LFD to smoke is the Cabinet 6s. I believe
Oh, man, that used to be my go-to.
The Cabinet 6.
That was my go-to.
Yes. And I tell you what, if you look into the humidor we got now, the Cabinet 6s, they have really nice plume on them right now. That's why I'll grab one of those.
I know Jay has aged them.
Yes.
But for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
the wrapper is not the same wrapper it used to be.
You're not the first person to tell me
The old wrapper was thick.
You're right.
And bumpy and, like, not beautiful because it was perfection. It was beautiful because of the oily sheen that Maduro wrapper had.
Yes.
And you still had all those imperfections underneath the wrapper, but it was so thick that it covered them up. And
yes,
so that was an amazing cigar. And anytime I've had the opportunity, I see somebody carries them, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give them another try. And every time since, it's been like, it was a good cigar.
Right.
But it wasn't the old cigar that I fell in love with.
So let me tell you, you are exactly the second person to have told me that.
Was the other one Paul?
No, it wasn't Paul. It was Scott.
Scott who?
Scott Delbosque.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so
all right.
he
just gotta make sure that fucking Fritz wasn't telling you something.
no, so yeah, just, don't mean to throw you under the bus, Scott, but so he told me exactly what you just said, literally almost word for word what you just said. But the Cabinet 6s that we have in the Leaf right now, I will walk by them, because I only work about 3 days a week. I'll walk by them, and I'll if I'm feeling a Cabinet 6, I'll see which one has the most plume on it, and I will pick that stick out because since they're open, they're going to develop that plume a lot quicker than some of the other ones. And so I'll see that, and I'm kind of like, I'm going to get that stick right there. That's a good stick, and it's still a good stick, but I feel a little a little cheated that I didn't get to have the old one.
Yeah, you never had that one.
Never had the old one.
You know what? When we get done with the show, I'm going to show you a picture of the old one.
Okay.
And you won't recognize it as what they sell now as their Cabinet 6.
Okay, well,
it's that much different.
Shit. Well, I look forward to it for sure.
All right, what's number 2 on your list?
Number 2, let's see. Well, actually, yeah, number 2 is, hold on, my thing. Okay, well, actually, number 3. We're at number 3 right now.
I meant 3 going down, or 2 something. But you're number 2. Or 3.
3.
Okay.
So it was one that Brian mentioned earlier. Is the Black Label Trading Company? It's the porcelain.
Great stick.
So
I'm a Black Label Trading Company fan.
Oh, me too. 100%.
The line itself has been very solid.
I have not had one from them that I haven't liked.
I agree.
And so, but I'll tell you why I chose the porcelain for in my top 5 here is because it has become Since I tried the Tabanero Connecticut on Saturday for the first time. That might be my new coffee cigar. It probably will be. But before that, the porcelain was my coffee cigar. Like that was like it had a little bit of that bitterness you get from the Connecticut wrapper, but it wasn't so much that it was going to overpower anything. You get a lot of kind of that hay and that kind of like just really, it's not sweet, but you kind of get it's very light, very smooth, and it goes so great with a black cup of coffee. You know what I mean?
I do.
The bitterness of the coffee and the porcelain just complement each other. Like it almost cancels each other out. So you just get kind of the undertones of everything together. It's such a good stick. In fact, like that's been my Saturday morning coffees. So when I open for the Leaf on Saturdays, I'll make a pot of coffee and I'll grab me a porcelain, and that is a dang good combination.
I agree 100%. That's if you haven't tried that porcelain, it's definitely worth it.
And just the band art on it and everything, it just
all their artwork is pretty badass.
It works and it's so great.
Now, what's the cigar that's like it's not called the Vatican.
Right.
What's it called?
Viaticum.
See, I was like, hey, where's that cigar that gets me out of hell? It's not the Vatican.
Viaticum.
Viaticum. Okay.
Viaticum. Now that is a good stick. And I remember Jay mentioning something about that a couple weeks ago. I think that
I just smoked it again Saturday.
I think
it's
that was
a phenomenal stick.
It 100% that, and it's kind of along the lines of the Green Hornet, sort of. But
I actually like it better than the Green Hornet.
I do too. I actually do too. It's unique. It has something to it that's just like it's different than the other stuff. It's if I remember correctly, Jay told me it is a limited release. It's one of those limited releases.
I didn't know that.
I think that's correct. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's
whenever I hear limited release, I'm like, does that mean like 200 or 200,000?
Right.
I don't know what I don't know what limited release is because it's all different.
If I'm going to be honest, nobody does.
Right.
But no, the Viaticum from Black Label Trading is just, I mean, it's great. But if I'm gonna pick a standout one for myself, it's gonna be my coffee cigar, the porcelain. I mean, that's just all around. That's a great stick.
And I'm with you on that because one of my very favorite sticks is the stick I start out the day with.
Yes.
My first stick with my first cup of coffee. That's the one I want to make the impression for the next 4 to 5 hours.
Well, and that sets the tone for your whole day.
It absolutely does. When I start out with a great stick first thing in the morning, dude, my day is already on fire. It's like, this is good.
Right. You get up in the morning, you make your cup of coffee, and you get that stick that goes with it, and you're just like, today's gonna be a damn good day.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's why I love working at the Leaf on Saturdays, because I get to start off the day with a porcelain and a cup of coffee.
Very nice. All right, what's your number? What's your number? Well, I guess we're counting down, so 2.
So number 2 would be the Tabanero, the Nero, like y'all were talking about earlier.
I smoked one of those today.
Okay, so the reason I picked that one is just because that was the first Tabanero I smoked when we got them in.
Oh, really?
Yes, I picked out the limited edition first, the Nero, and I saw it and I was like, the band caught my eye. It's the white background with the purple lining and the letters on it. Great stick. You get some of those hints of chocolate, and it's a little bit of a sweeter cigar, quote unquote. It's not a sweet cigar by any means.
You're not gonna light it up and think you're smoking a Blondie
or like a Tatiana or something like that.
You're but like the delicate sweetness of maybe some chocolate.
Exactly.
You're gonna get that just off of the wrapper, from my experience.
Absolutely. And yeah, you're 100% correct. You're just going to get kind of that delicate sweetness kind of on the back end of it. You kind of get that, but it is still a Maduro cigar. You're still going to get that boldness, that complexity from it, but it's not going to overwhelm anything.
Right. And you know, across the board so far of what I've smoked from Tabanero has been like impressive flavor profiles, but nothing hardcore.
Right. It's not going to knock your teeth in.
And I think they strive to be like the American version of a Cuban cigar.
Right.
And what I mean by that is the rolling, but you're not going to smoke a Tabanero so far in my experience.
Right.
That's going to be like all these different flavor profiles.
Right.
You're going to have some very distinct, nice profiles
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy throughout the stick.
Right, and it is, and it will develop. You're not gonna get stuck with just one little like niche thing. It's gonna develop, and it's gonna like actually change as you smoke it. And that's the mark of a good cigar, is if it actually develops. And actually, I was doing a little research before I came over here today.
Whoa, research!
Yeah.
We don't ever do that.
Well,
we never do research.
See, that's why I'm the new.
Nice.
That's why I'm the new
That's
host.
the new Falconer.
Yes. And it turns out, so when I said about the definition of cigars using the Ometepe tobacco,
Right.
it turns out the Tabanero actually uses Ometepe tobacco too.
Really?
So you're going to get a lot of that volcanic richness. You're going to get a lot of that complexity through it, but it's not going to bite you back.
You did some research.
I did some research. And so a lot of it's not the wrapper like the conception, but it is in the filler. You're going to get some of that Ometepe filler, which is from the Jalapa Valley of Nicaragua, which is, as you know, one of the
They're rare.
It's rare, and it's one of the better growing conditions for tobacco in the world.
Right.
So it's you're going to get that richness, but it's not going to like feel like you're swallowing glass or anything.
And what's the region called one more time?
Ometepe.
See, when I hear that, I always want to say tapioca. I don't know why.
It's from the
but
tapioca region.
Tapioca, those people are down there enjoying some good stuff. So what's number one on your list?
Okay, so number one, well, I think we miscounted. That was the last one I had on my list, but you know what? I can talk about something.
Oh, was that number one?
I think that should have been number one, I think, but I can talk about anything else you want me to.
Well, give me one more. Give
One-
me one. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
If you walk into the Leaf tomorrow
Right.
because you won the lottery,
Okay.
you've got, well, let's just say money's no object.
Right.
What's the cigar that you're smoking tomorrow?
I tell you what, it's going to be a Padron 1926 natural.
Nice.
And like I said, I think I may have said it before. Scott at the Leaf, Scott Del Bosque, put it. That is the way.
Not Fritz, because he doesn't know shit. But go ahead.
I thought you said it's only going to be one.
I like to kick it up a notch.
We're up to 3 now.
I like to kick it up a
We're
notch.
up to 3. But so Scott Del Bosque put. I almost said Fritz. Scott Del Bosque put it as that is the way a cigar should taste. When someone says cigar to you, the flavor that pops immediately into your mind, that's what a cigar should taste like, and that is the 1926. That just is, in my mind, the be all end all. I haven't tried the Maduros yet, but the naturals like that.
I want to talk to you after you've had the natural. I mean the Maduros.
Okay.
Because I agree, the naturals are out of sight.
Right.
But I do prefer the Maduros.
Okay.
Which is funny because on my normal smoking routine. Thank you. I don't smoke that many Maduros.
Yeah, and I really don't either.
It's more of a rarity.
Right.
But I actually prefer the Maduro on the 1926 over the natural because it just has this certain distinctive flavor profile that nothing else has.
Right. And like we were talking about earlier, Padron is Padron, and you can taste it.
I am excited for you to let me know after you've smoked a Maduro.
Oh, 100%.
I would like to hear your feedback on that.
You'll be the first person I call. But yeah, so if you're looking for and like this isn't a new one to us, we've had it in for a long time. In fact, like we were talking about, it was one of Dr. Bill's favorites. It was the natural, the 1926. That to me is what a cigar should taste like. Just like Scott said, it's what a cigar should taste like, and the
construction's perfect every time.
Yeah,
the cigar is consistent every time, and in order to be consistent at that level for decades is freaking amazing.
Right. And I'll tell you this, and I'll just throw this out there real quick. It's funny to me whenever someone comes in and asks me, yo, y'all got any Cubans? I'm like, okay, so
Yeah, they're in the back rolling, but we don't sell them.
You ever watch Seinfeld?
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And so they roll the crepes too tight. But so what I when someone asks for that, I tell them, I say, okay, so the way Cubans have gone since the revolution, you still have the Cuban quality tobacco being grown because that's one of the most fertile, like greatest tobacco growing regions in the world, and that's just climate. That's fact. You can't change that, but you can still get things even from the original Cuban houses like Partagas, Cohiba, even Padron, and Hoyo de Monterrey is one of them too. You can still get quality from them from other regions that you can still get. I
love the Hoyo del Monterrey out of Nicaragua.
Exactly.
It's a great and it's a value stick.
Absolutely.
$6-7.
Absolutely. And that's you can get Cuban, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here. You can get Cuban quality cigars from other parts of the world that are as good or better than what they used to be.
And I would take it one step further in saying that my thing about Cuban cigars is if you're getting the top level quality out of Cuba, you're getting a great cigar.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But the international standard has skyrocketed because of what all the companies have done with innovation.
Absolutely.
You're never going to find the level of complexity on Cuban cigars that you get out of Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, San Andreas out of Mexico.
Right.
Because they just don't have the ability because they don't have the tobacco leaves.
Right.
Over there, they have what they have. And if you like that, it's going to be good.
Yes.
But you're not going to experience many things outside of the realm of what they're known for.
Right. Well, and like for example, so for my brother's wedding last year, I bought them some torcedores and stuff to spread throughout the whole wedding, but I had a box of Cuban Cohibas that a guy that I knew gifted me, and it was actual Cuban Cohibas. I had like the letter of authenticity, all that stuff, like the trade stamp, everything on it. It was legit. I saved one of those each for me, my dad, and my brother for my brother's wedding, and we smoked them. And I won't say I was disappointed, but I knew that I could get something better.
For the price.
For the price.
Right.
Exactly. And so
I've had an old friend of mine from Atlanta sent me a Padron Millennium.
Okay.
Which is like a 1926, but it was in 2000.
Okay.
And he sent that to me in 2018.
Okay.
So
wow.
18 years aged in his humidor.
Holy crap, dude.
And I was skeptical because I was like, 18 years old, this cigar is probably not going to be what I would like it to be.
Right. It probably lost a lot of its flavor by then.
Blew me away.
Really?
It had not lost any flavor.
Okay.
Which blew me away because I was like, this probably isn't going to be very good.
Right.
And then he also sent me some real deal, the Cohiba Binky.
Okay.
And a Monte Cristo Cuban. I smoked both of those, and neither one of them did much for me.
Right.
So, I mean, if you love Cuban cigars, more power to you.
Right, absolutely.
I'm not saying they don't make good cigars.
No, absolutely not.
But the market has changed so much since they are no longer the number one cigar makers in the world.
Right.
And now they've just gone so innovative that we're getting to try ideas that no one would have ever thought about in Cuba.
Oh, absolutely. And well, and that all comes from when the revolution happened. I had a cigar shop owner from a cigar shop over in Cedar Hill, over in South Dallas. He told me this years ago. I don't remember what the name of the place was. This was probably about 10 years ago. He told me that when the revolution happened, all the guys that were like worth anything, that had a good operation going, they took their shit and they left.
No shit.
Yes, they took their seed, they took their rollers, and they got the hell out of there, and they went other places. And so you have these guys that are like at the bleeding edge of the innovation in Cuba, doing it everywhere else. And so their legacy has continued from that. And since you talk about the innovation has come through to all these other countries, you can find as good or better quality cigars that were like old school Cubans many other places.
I agree.
Many
and I mean, just me, and maybe I'm like speaking out of my ass, but I mean, I think you can, if you enjoy Cuban cigars, you could just smoke cheap cigars from Nicaragua. You know what I mean?
Okay. I see what you're saying. I don't necessarily know exactly what you mean by that, but like I see what you're saying though.
Well, I mean, cheaper cigars aren't as complex.
Right.
They're a one-trick pony a lot of the time.
Right.
And I find Cuban cigars to be the same. So I would rather spend $5 on a regular cigar than spend $20 on a Cuban.
Right.
That may or may not be good construction.
Well, and the thing about that too is you have to consider a lot of Cuban cigars are faked. You can
Absolutely. I got a whole box as a gift that was fakes. And the bad thing is, I told the guy before he went on his trip, don't buy me any cigars.
Right.
And he was like, no, I want to buy you some cigars. And I said, if you want to buy me some cigars, buy me 1 or 2 sticks.
Right.
At a cigar lounge where you're going.
Absolutely.
But whatever you do, don't buy Cohibas. And he was like, why? And I said, because they're counterfeited.
They're the most counterfeited cigars in the world.
Everybody knows Cohiba.
Yeah.
If you don't smoke cigars, you know Cohiba.
Well, you see that checkered band, and you automatically assume it's a Cuban Cohiba.
Right. And so, anyway, he brings me back a box of just completely trash. And I was like, I gave you specific instructions on what not to do.
It's like, thanks.
And I was like, I feel bad. What did you pay for these? And he's like, oh man, I got the whole box for $75. And I was like, of course you did.
That makes sense.
You should have got it for 10, but but no. So that's where I am on Cubans. I'm not saying they're not good. I think there's probably people who enjoy Cubans more than what they enjoy on what's available stateside.
100%, yes.
But that's what they like.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, like, there's nothing wrong with that. That might be your flavor palette, and that's fantastic. That's great. But you can find, like, it's the thing that gets me about that is the people that refuse to buy anything else but Cubans. And I'm like, okay, have you...
Well, that goes across the board for me. If you only buy one flavor, company, size,
right,
you're missing out on the journey.
There's a whole nother world out there.
There is a whole nother world, and if you're not experiencing the entire journey, you're just missing out.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely, and the thing for me, like I said, if you find what you like and you stick with that, that's fantastic. But the trick is to have an open mind about it. The trick is to be able to be willing to consider.
And here's what I'll say on that. If you find the one cigar that you love and that's what you're going to smoke from now on,
right,
dude, you're missing out on a lot of good cigars.
Well, yeah, well, if you're closed off from everything else, absolutely. Well, like I think me and Brian were talking about this earlier. The Project 40 from Alec Bradley. Okay, the Project 40 Maduro. Okay, that is a sub $10 cigar. That is a sub $8 cigar in some cases.
A sub $7 cigar.
Right.
$7 cigar.
So that cigar by itself, whenever someone comes in and asks me, hey, I'm on a budget, like a small budget, I need some good cigars. I take them to the Project 40s.
That's a great value cigar.
And I tell them I said, this is the bang for the buck. This is the most bang for your buck cigar you're going to get.
What's the price on the Maduro Toro?
It
$7.20.
It's less than $8.
Okay, that's a $10 cigar all day long.
Oh, 100%.
So you are getting your money's worth, and you're getting a good experience.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing about that to me is it's an experiment. They call it the Project 40. It's an experimental cigar that they put out on the market, and it turned out to be a really freaking great cigar.
Well, I mean, and think about how many people like on a cigar journey, were able to smoke that cigar because of its price point.
Absolutely.
And gave them the experience to go, you know what? I need to move up a level.
Right. Absolutely. And that's, that's like the, I call that like the entry level cigar. Just because it, like you said, it is a sub $8 cigar for the natural or the Maduro. I mean, I'm a fan of the Maduro out of that line, but like you can't really, at least in our selection, find a cigar less than $8 that's going to be as good as that cigar.
Except for the La Galera.
Well, except for the La Galera, but But
I'm a huge fan of La Galera.
Well, this is
across the board,
Well,
and that's the Habano, the Maduro, and the Connecticut.
So listen, Brian just gave me this Connecticut before we started recording for this show, and this is what I'm
that's
smoking.
the La Galera I saw.
Yeah,
I was
this
like,
yeah.
What the fuck, bro?
It's just because I'm special.
I got you.
But well, I haven't had the La Galera Connecticut before.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
great stick.
This is a phenomenal stick,
dude. That was a secret for years. I remember when I turned Professor Ed, onto him. He was like, "Holy crap, that's a good cigar!" And I was like, "Dude, that's the whole fun of trying different cigars."
And he's a fan of the Padron 1000 series. He
loves the Padron.
Yes, loves. And whenever anyone, that's always one I'll throw in there at the end when I'm selling cigars. I'll throw it in and be like, "Hey, if you're looking for that kind of earthiness, that really, it's not spicy, but it's gonna."
Yeah, that's a good description of like the 6000.
Yeah, the 6000, like
not spicy. Real earthy,
yes,
and it's going to be a solid smoke.
Yeah, and that's what I tell them. I say Padron is consistent. Their quality assurance and their quality control over their whole line is phenomenal because it's so consistent. But like you were talking about the Connecticut from Padron earlier, and I agree with you. It's not my favorite, but the way it burns and the way it's constructed is still good.
You know what? I may have to revisit that stick. Because I do enjoy going back to see if my initial assessment was correct.
Right.
Because so many times in the cigar world, I've made a judgment on a cigar.
Right.
And when I've gone back to revisit, my perspective has changed.
Oh, 100%. And that's the good thing about cigars is even for me too, my palate and my perception has changed. I started smoking cigars when I was 18. Okay, that was 11 years ago. My palate has changed so much since then.
Right.
In 11 years. And I'll go back to stuff that I used to smoke and I'm thinking okay, so the first box I ever bought, I still remember the first box of cigars I ever bought was the Fleur de la Antilles, the natural from my father's.
Okay.
The Toro Gordo. That was the first box I ever bought when I got my first big boy job, you know what I mean, out of college. And that's a good stick. It's not my go-to anymore.
You know what my first box purchase was? Well, no, it wasn't my first. My first real cigar purchase as a box.
Right.
I mean, I had bought like a box of Mark Twain cigars. I had bought a box of Victor Sinclair Bamboo. I'd smoked a lot of shit.
Hey, there's no judgment here, man.
But I went up to the Leaf one day and I bought a box of my father's Torpedo Lee Bijou 1922.
Oh, shit.
That was my first real box, and it was amazing.
You talk about a nicotine bomb, man. Holy
dude.
crap.
Yeah, I used to smoke those one after the other.
Holy crap, dude.
And it was a great buy. And I'll tell you what, I think probably my second or third box after that was the Cabinet 6 by LFD.
Yeah.
And those come in boxes of 50.
Holy crap. Yeah, they do.
So it was a $500 box.
Holy crap.
That's how good those were.
You talk about the old ones, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll show you those after the show.
Yes, let me see those.
Well, hey, man, thanks for coming and being the new host.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, we love the conversation. We love the experience. And I'm not bullshitting you when I say, let's get your dad on the show.
Hey, I'll ask him, man.
Nice. Nice. Rocket. Mr. Rocket.
Yeah, Mr. Rocket. Yeah.
Rocket Man.
I can't tell you how many times I heard that song.
Oh, I'm sure.
It says that on the back of my Letterman jacket from high school.
Nice.
It says Rocket Man. I'm not even kidding.
I can't imagine it saying anything other than that now. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this week's show. And until next time, keep smoking.
Woo!
Boom.